Yes, it's been a while, but I'm back. I have been away for a while, as you know, and that's because I was waiting on my GoPro Hero 13 and I wanted to shoot some test footage with it. So now that I have this and I've used it for a while, what are my thoughts on it? Well, I'll share them with you in this review, and I also want to cover a few things about this camera that haven't been mentioned in other reviews that I think you'll find interesting. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. This is DemonView. Hi there, welcome back to the channel. I do appreciate you tuning in, and in this video we're going to be looking at that GoPro Hero 13, which I bought right here. I bought the version that came with the 2 extra batteries in the charger, came with the ND filters, and also that macro lens mod. Now, I know you've seen a lot of videos about the Hero 13, what it's capable of right now, so I'm only going to share with you like some brief bits of footage that I liked, that I shot with the camera, and I'm going to be talking about how useful I find this camera and whether or not it's worth updating. And hey, spoiler alert, in my opinion, it is. I think this is probably one of the best models that GoPro have released in a while, and there's certain reasons for thinking that, and I'm going to share them with you now. So this here is the GoPro Hero 12, okay? And as we all know, the GoPro Hero 12 was really just a GoPro Hero 11 with the GPS removed and a totally different firmware installed on the camera. And yeah, I thought that was actually a pretty good camera, believe it or not, but a lot of people were off-putted by the whole fact that it's pretty much the same camera. You know, with just a firmware upgrade, we're thinking, well, why don't you just release a firmware upgrade for 11 and improve it? And yeah, I get that, and I think they're afraid that the Hero 13 might be kind of the same thing after all. Same processor, exact same sensor. So, you know, what makes this so much better? Well, here's the thing. Let's say I'm making one of my videos and I'm filming with the Hero 12. It could be for DemonView Drives, an excellent channel. Check it out, by the way. Now, let's say I'm filming, I'm doing my vlog like that. I'm on the camera, absolutely fine. That's fantastic, but let's say I want to have an up-close shot of some batteries, right? Well, I can't do that with the GoPro Hero 12 because, in all fairness, you can't get close-up shots of the GoPro. You can either do a digital zoom, in which case you're reducing resolution and it kind of looks a bit terrible, or you have to switch to a secondary camera, like take out your cell phone or take out your Canon camera if you have one, do the close-up shots with that, and in which case now you're dealing with 2 different file formats, 2 different cameras, 2 different color grades, and 2 different file types, and you're going to have to try and assemble that into one video, match everything up. That's a pain in the arse, I'll tell you that right now. With the GoPro Hero 13, what they've done is they've actually included some extra lens options, and in this case we have the macro lens. Let's just take a look at that outside of its little protective case here. And here we go. This is what the old macro lens looks like. And as you know, you can kind of zoom in close, or you can actually get far shots with it. And that's all indicated by the fact that you've got like a little bit up here that tells you whether or not you're focused up close or focused far away. Now for me, that's excellent. It means I can now get those close-up shots and I can do it all with one camera. So I'm matching those color setups, I'm matching the frame rate, I'm matching the file type, and it's all on the one camera. So I can shoot the normal vlog, then I can get a close-up shot simply by attaching the macro lens. Now, for me, that means that this camera, the Hero 13, it's no longer just an action camera. This is a complete creator content camera, as I can do those close-up shots, I can do the far-away shots, and that's just fantastic, all with the same camera. So for me, those extra lens add-ons that GoPro have introduced are really, really handy. Now, one of the things that I liked with the other GoPro models was the ability to put your ND filters on, do your little calculation in your head to kind of get that pleasing motion blur. However, it didn't always turn out great because sometimes, a perfect example, and this is on me, I went scuba diving with my wife. Well, my wife went scuba diving, I kind of just loved everything that was heavy. Wanted to get some ND filter shots, so I put an ND filter on, thought this looked great, filmed everything, and everything was completely blown out. Why? Because I was wearing dark sunglasses at the time. And I was looking at the rear screen on the GoPro through a pair of sunglasses thinking, wow, this color looks absolutely great. But in all fairness, if I would just wore my normal glasses, I would have seen how blown out everything was. Couldn't use any footage from that day, and that's on me, idiot. So, GoPro have idiot-proofed this camera. If we take the new lens cover off, you should be able to see there's a tiny, tiny little blue dot at the top there. And what that is, that's a little, I think it's like an RFID type of chip or some sort of magnetic chip that's read by a little sensor here on the camera. Now, if we take a look at your ND filters here, every single one of the ND filters has one of those little chips on it, that little blue chip. Sorry, that's not going to focus too well. Right. Take my word for it, you can actually see it there. There's a little blue chip in it, and that tells the camera what type of ND filter is on the camera. And what it does is it looks at the scene, looks at the amount of available light within the scene, and it tells you whether or not the ND filter is too strong or too light. And it basically recommends which type of ND filter you should be using for that lighting type versus your camera setup. And I think that's a huge thing. There are loads of people out there who, think using an ND filter automatically means you get cinema quality footage from your camera. No, you use an ND filter to introduce motion blur into your footage, and motion blur is what you get from cinematic footage when it's actually, kind of set up properly. It doesn't mean that your filming will suddenly look amazing and cinematic. No, it's kind of like a whole process that you add to certain shots. So what happens is you get people thinking, I want a cinematic walk around at nighttime in the middle of some city. What ND filter should I use? And you shouldn't be using any, because it's so dark that your shutter speeds are slow anyway, in which case you're going to have motion blur. If you add an ND filter, it's going to be way too dark, you're going to have too much blur, and the footage is going to be unusable. So thankfully, GoPro sorted that out by letting the camera tell you that, no, this is what lens you should be using, whether or not you step up or step down to a different filter. And I think that's really, really handy. It means that people who have no idea how to get cinematic footage are probably going to be able to use motion blur a hell of a lot easier now. And the other advantage is, if you're using something like the new max lens mod, or as they call it, the wide angle lens now, is that once you attach that to the camera will automatically go into that wide angle lens mode. Now, there's been a couple of people who have taken footage before, they put the max lens mod onto their camera and forget to turn on max lens mode, and that messes with their footage. But now, thankfully, the GoPro switches modes automatically thanks to that little blue dot there, which reads what type of lens you have. And I think that's going to be a huge thing for creators. And I really do think that this is one of GoPro's best cameras, as it simplifies shooting for people, automatically sets the camera into the mode that you need, and like I said, suggests which ND filter you should use based on the light. Another thing I want to talk about is the battery. Now, a lot of people have been complaining about the new batteries for the GoPro Hero 13. Basically, they're unhappy that if they own the GoPro Hero 12, that now they have to buy all new batteries. Okay, I can kind of understand that a little bit, but not really, because I've been using the GoPro Hero 9, the GoPro Hero 10, the GoPro Hero 11, the GoPro Hero 12. They've all used this same battery, and that's 4 generations of camera. I mean, it's about time that we've gotten new batteries, and that's exactly what GoPro did. They said, right, we're going to give you a new battery that lasts longer and shoots in more extreme temperatures, and that's actually a good thing. So, I mean, I don't really agree with the complaints there. It's understandable that people might be unhappy if the GoPro Hero 12 was their first camera, but if you've been using GoPros for as long as I have, I think it's about time that we got a new battery, and we did. So GoPro did introduce a new feature with this charger, and I'm going to show you here now because nobody seems to have mentioned it. Let me plug it in, and look at that. Now you actually have 4 LEDs for each battery, and that tells you the status of your battery, really. I mean, you've got 1 LED for 25%, 2 LEDs for 50%, 3 LEDs for 75%, 4 LEDs, you're charged. That's something that the other GoPro battery charger didn't have. You just had the lights on the top. Well, there were no more lights on the top. Now you have an indicator to let you know where your kind of battery stands on its charging, and I reckon that's absolutely great. Now, what's disappointing is that it's not a fast charger. It still takes a long time to charge the batteries, and I'm really hoping that's something that GoPro addresses in the future. Give us a fast charger and let us charge batteries much more faster. Everyone will benefit from that. Now, GoPro have also claimed that they've made audio improvements with this camera, and they've improved some hardware that other people haven't addressed. For instance, the GoPro Hero 13 actually has a new Wi-Fi chip on board that actually supports Wi-Fi 6. That's going to give you faster transfer speeds and faster upload speeds, providing you're talking to a Wi-Fi 6 capable device. I mean, if you're using a cheaper phone or a cheaper older router that doesn't support Wi-Fi 6, you're probably not going to notice any difference. But if you're using a premium phone or a premium router that does support Wi-Fi 6, you are going to notice faster transfer speeds. On top of that, the Bluetooth audio has actually been improved. They put a new Bluetooth chip in here, and that's basically supporting Bluetooth 5.3, I think it is. And that's a massive improvement. So yeah, the Hero 13 actually has a lot going on for it that other people don't seem to talk about. But there is one bad thing I'm going to address, and this is something that I feel bad kind of mentioning it, but at the same time, it is something that affected me for sure. So here's the thing, I'm kind of getting to the age where now I look at my phone, except I have to look at my phone way like that with my glasses kind of down to see the screen. Okay, let's face it, age happens to everybody. Now, when it comes to using the GoPro Hero 13 with that macro lens, it's got focus peaking on it to kind of help you guide where the focus is. But honestly, a lot of times I'm looking at this tiny small screen and I'm trying to honestly see where the hell the focus is on this thing, because it's like, am I focused properly or not? The focus peaking, it seems to me there's not a kind of a lot of difference between like the far away focus and the near focus. So a lot of the times when I'm trying to film something up close, everything is peaking on this, and it's kind of like I wish there was kind of more of a difference between the close-up and the far away shots in this. Now I think GoPro this is kind of like the first macro lens they've actually come up with, so I think they're trying to have something that's not too extreme for people, where people would ruin their shots just by having it focused incorrectly, whereas if there's less kind of a movement between that close-up and far away, then they're thinking, okay, the footage will still be usable. But for me, yeah, it's just a case of it's a little bit too hard sometimes to tell me, is it focused in properly, is it not, because that's on me. I just have problems like seeing the screen now. I can actually do the live preview on the phone, that's a bit more helpful, but honestly, I think at this stage, I'm going to have to switch to using a tablet. So the macro lens mod, yes, it really is an asset, but if you're kind of, you know, hitting my age, well, then it might prove to be a little bit problematic for you. GoPro probably need to come up with, for the 14 or the 15, a better way to actually have that focus kind of give you 2 thumbs up, and yeah, that's exactly the shot you want. So what else is good about the Hero 13? Well, don't forget we have that HDR HLG. Now, for those of you who may not know this basically means that the HDR has been improved and it's more compatible across a larger range of devices. It's kind of like the broadcast quality HDR, and that I've noticed is quite interesting. I've shot HDR footage with the Hero 12 before. I was quite impressed, but it seemed to me that it just wasn't kind of perfect. I thought the darks were a little bit too dark, and the kind of highlights were just a little bit too bright. The Hero 13 using the HDR HLG format, it seems to be kind of richer in the midtones. It's a bit more kind of lighter looking, and for me that actually looks better. It's not as extreme as the Hero 12. I'm going to show you some comparison footage to let you know what it looks like, and you can see which one you prefer. So as you can see, good bit of footage there, good bit of contrast, but the thing is, should you buy the GoPro Hero 13? Well, I've already done an article on DemonView.com about which GoPro you should buy. Check that out if you want to read the whole write-up on what I think. But honestly, here's what I think. I do think that this is probably one of the biggest steps that GoPro have done in quite a while. I haven't really kind of been impressed by the Hero 12 when it came out. I was one of those people who thought it was nothing but a firmware upgrade, which it kind of was, but what a firmware upgrade it was. It really did offer some great features. However, I think with the Hero 13, GoPro have listened to the consumers. They've actually made a camera that's worth getting. They've made a camera that's really kind of, like I said, a powerhouse for content creators. The fact that you can actually do the close-up shots with the macro lenses, if you're not familiar with how to get proper motion blur, that's okay. With these new lenses, they pretty much make it very easy for you to do that. I mean, you can do everything with this camera now instead of having to switch between different cameras to get the different types of shots that you want. And yeah, I think that's really fantastic. So the thing is, I'm really impressed with this camera. I really like it, and I'm kind of blown away by the things I'm managing to do with this camera and the images I'm getting out of it. Even that little heatsink on the front of it, it kind of just adds a bit to the camera. And one of the things I'm thinking about, you see the way this is kind of like so large now, the display is the exact same, but it's more glass. I'm kind of wondering, is that a hint for the GoPro Hero 14? Are they going to have like a 9:16 kind of preview screen on the front? Maybe it's going to be a 1:1, so when you do that, you can get your 16:9, who knows? But that could be something that's coming. Now, my only kind of real other disappointment of this is that the anamorphic lens is not available yet. It's not going to be available till 2025. That's killing me because that's something I really am excited to use. I've used third-party anamorphic lenses before, and it's a little bit of extra work, have to de-squeeze the footage to, you know, make it look pleasing. But yeah, the fact that the GoPro Hero 13 is going to support that de-squeezing in camera and just output properly formatted widescreen footage, I'm really, really looking forward to playing with that. So yeah, I've been playing with this. That's where I've been all this time, as well as going on a few flights and stuff. And yeah, I am really impressed with this little camera. This has made me very happy, and I'm going to be shooting a lot more footage with that. So make sure you stay around for that. And until next time, cheerio.